Coastline's Night Tour Guide, Beach Llama. Follow the magic stick. Lago Oil Transport Co Limited began as a transshipping port and oil depot, a solution to the challenges of navigating tankers in the shallow inlet of Venezuela's Lake Maracaibo. Lago is Spanish for lake, a fitting name for an enterprise born from this geographical reality. Before tourism, oil refining was Aruba's most influential industry. We'll explore the history of the oil industry, specifically Lago's story and its profound impact on our island. As always, we'll be oversimplifying for information retention and time constraints. Onward we go! Follow the magic stick. Pan American Petroleum and Transport Company, PAPTCO for short, was a holding company for several entities, including Lago Petroleum Company. Founded in Delaware in April 1923 by North American investors with ties to Standard Oil, Lago Petroleum Company quickly expanded. By August 1914, it acquired British Equatorial Oil Company, and with British American Petroleum Company, one of the entities owned by PAPTCO, established Lago Oil Transport Company Limited. I hope you are following me. On August 14, 1924, three representatives from Lago Oil and Transport Company Limited, Captain Robert Rogers, Captain William Clark, and Mr. John Oswald Boyd, arrived in Aruba. Their mission: to find a suitable location for a transshipping port. They had previously surveyed Curaçao, but most of its bays were already occupied by competitors, primarily the Royal Dutch Shell Group, or were otherwise unsuitable. The three Brits, swayed by maritime pilots Richard Johannes Bujon, turned their attention to San Nicolas, an area to the southeast of Aruba, specifically the home of the rickety harbor and rusty railway of the defunct Aruba Phosphate Company. After 2 weeks of negotiations at the Ayman family estate in San Nicolas, dubbed the White House, a 99-year property lease was signed between Lago Oil and Transport Company Limited and the Dutch colonial government. Work on the oil depot reportedly began in November 1924. From November 1924 to July 1925, flat-bottomed lake tankers transported crude from Venezuela's Lake Maracaibo to a depot ship in Oranjestad. The larger ocean tankers were filled to deliver crude to the refineries in the Gulf, the Mexican one. Construction on the port began in late 1925 and it officially opened on November 17, 1927. By February 1928, Standard Oil of Indiana started building a small refinery next to the port after acquiring it and the oil holdings under Lake Maracaibo from Pan American Petroleum Company. The refinery was completed by the end of 1928, officially beginning operations on January 29, 1929. Due to the tax and international trade constraints, Standard Oil of Indiana began transferring stock to Standard Oil of New Jersey, then known as Esso, in August of that year. By 1932, Esso owned the refinery, the transshipping port, and the rights to the crude under Lake Maracaibo. Fast forward to 1939, with the start of the Second World War, the refinery began supplying the Allies with vital high-octane aviation fuel. On February 16, 1942, at 1:31 a.m., the German U-boat U-156 fired 2 torpedoes at the lake tankers SS Pedernales and SS Oranjestad anchored in San Nicolas Bay. The Oranjestad sank in just 48 seconds while the Pedernales was damaged but later repaired. 10 minutes later, U-156 positioned itself to bombard the Lago refinery with its deck gun. However, a crewman's error, failing to remove the muzzle cap, caused the first shell to detonate in the barrel, thus averting a larger catastrophic outcome. By the 1950s, Lago Oil and Transport Company Limited significantly shaped Aruba's development. Their contributions ranged from providing jobs and career opportunities within the refinery and its contractors to fostering infrastructure, logistics, education, and healthcare. They also stimulated local commerce. However, this was a bittersweet era. While technological advances boosted the refinery's projects, automation led to job losses. Yet hope for employment remained, as another industry now synonymous with Aruba was on the horizon. Now let's talk about employment and a very crucial factor: communication.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
A major hurdle for the U.S. employers at the refinery was the lack of English-speaking workers on the island. Because of this, job opportunities appeared in the classified across the region, especially inactive British colonies. These vacancies attracted many predominantly black men from Anglophone Caribbean islands like Grenada, St. Vincent, Dominica, Trinidad and Tobago, British Guyana, Saba, Statia, St. Martin, and Suriname, among others. Living quarters varied by position. As one old-timer put it, if you work on the field, you live in the village. If you work in the office, you live in the heights. And if you're white, you live in the colony. Though often downplayed today, the cultural impact of this West Indian migration is evident in Aruba's cuisine, music, and traditions. It blends perfectly with the island's diverse Creole community and is a staple of Aruban development. By the 1980s, the refinery faced significant challenges. An oil glut from OPEC countries combined with decaying infrastructure and probably Aruba's push for autonomy led to the closure of Lago Oil and Transport Co Limited on March 31st, 1985. The Aruban government then acquired the refinery's remnants. That, in essence, is the story of Lago Oil and Transport Co Limited. Though other oil companies like Coastal, El Paso, and Valero would later operate the refinery, tourism had already become Aruba's primary industry for income and employment. The refinery finally shut down for good in March of 2012. Today, it stands as a silent monument in San Nicolas, a shadow of a bygone industry, a desolate point of interest that still garners attention, especially during election time. Ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you enjoyed the tour. Leave a comment and a like. Who knows, you might get a shout out in the next episode. And don't forget to share it with your loved ones. By the way, the links to our previous episodes, social media platforms, and website are in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to G-Spot YouTube and click that notification bell for more Slice Night content. As always, once a guest, always a friend. This is your Slice Night tour guide, Beach Life.